Well, welcome everyone to the Transformation Through Storytelling Mele and Hana Noʻeau. And we're so pleased that you can all join us and learn through cultural practice. And today we're really happy to have Hōkūlani Holt and Lei Ishikawa, who are going to start off our series with Cordage and the storytelling and the mele that goes with that. Thank you, Hōkūlani.
Aloha. So good to see all of your faces. What we're going to do as far as question and answer goes is if you have a question while it's going on, put it in the chat box, and Joyce is going to be monitoring the chat box and let us know if you have any questions. But then we'll have some time afterwards at the end to also do that. So if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat box. Now we have planned this out, but we know sometimes things jam up. So, so all I'm saying is be patient. Even though we do this often, things can jam up. So mahalo for being here. I'm going to start sharing my screen. If you have any pilikia with it, please put it in your chat box, and then we'll try and figure out what we're doing wrong. So welcome again to the Transformation Through Moʻolelo, Mele, and Hana Noʻeau. You know, the benefits of knowing moʻolelo, mele, and Hana Noʻeau is to have a physical, mental, and emotional connection to learning Hawaiian culture. To know Hawaiian culture, you need to do something. Yeah, it's not just cerebral. In my opinion, you need to do something. Do something cultural. Learn and continue to refine that practice, because as you do that, you become familiar with why these things are important to a culture such as Hawaiian culture. Learning all of this, moʻolelo, mele, Hana Noʻeau, and ʻōlelo Noʻeau provides you with a full knowledge of Hawaiian culture and Hawaiian language. You will then discover how all of the parts fit together to provide a clearer understanding and appreciation of Hawaiian culture as a whole. So the other really important thing to do is to find a good teacher, and to find a good teacher that can help facilitate your learning of a cultural practice along with the cultural information. Okay, here we go. People have made and used cordage for many centuries. It has been used to attach one object to another and to lift, pull, secure, bind things into place. Cordage is useful as well as decorative. Aha is a Hawaiian word that is the coconut sennit cordage, is still being made on a regular basis in many places in the Pacific. Hawaii has no metal in our ground, so using cordage for attaching and fastening things was critical. Early Hawaiians were skilled in constructing many things using cordage. String, rope, made out of fibers from plants. The cordage was used to fasten, lift, and pull things. For example, instead of building a house using nails, Hawaiians used cordage to construct their houses of wood and pili grass. Hawaiians made tools, nets, fish lines, fish hooks, musical instrument, games, weapons, and many more things using cordage. Their feather capes, helmets, and containers were also made of cordage. They even hauled huge koa logs down the mountain using ropes made from plant fibers. They tested and used the right plant material for the right cordage for the right use. The story of Kana and Niheu is rich and full. The story that will be told here is only a synopsis of one of these stories. There are many more. Hōkūlani was the father, and Hina was the mother of Kana, the firstborn. And Niheu, a dwarfish son with strength and cunning beyond his brothers, was the younger brother of Kana. Uli was the grandmother, and Haina Kualoa Maui was the land in which Kana was born. Halaʻololo was the name of his house. At the birth of Kana, he was in the form of a piece of rope. He had no human form. After his birth, and when he was rejected by his father, Uli, his grandmother, took and kept him until he assumed a human form. She raised Kana. The place where Kana was brought up was in Piʻihonua, a place lying to the east of the Wailuku River in Hilo, Hawaii. This was where his house, called Halaʻololo, was built. In this story, it is said that the body of Kana grew to be very tall and large and was terrible to behold. While he was being brought up, he grew so fast that the house had to be lengthened so that it extended from the mountain until it was almost to the edge of the sea. So the story goes, there is a hill called Haupu that is situated on Molokai. And the chief who lived on this hill was Kapepe'e Kauila. And this is the hill called Haupu on Molokai. Once upon a time, this hill, Haupu, moved or floated to Mokuola in Hilo Bay. And this is Mokuola, carrying along the chief and the people and all the things that grew on the hill. When Hina, the mother of Kana and Niheu, saw the land was pleasant to the eye, she climbed upon it with the idea of taking a look at the place. As soon as Hina was on the hill of Haupu, it immediately moved back to Molokai, thus leaving Hōkūlani to mourn her loss. When Hōkūlani saw that his wife was being carried away, he tried to recover her, but found it impossible to do. After his failure, he went to Niheu and told him that Hina had been taken away by the hill, Haupu. When Niheu heard this report from his father, he said, "I cannot get her. There is only one person who can do it, and that is Kana. You must go to him personally. Don't be afraid of him and run away if he should turn and look at you. Just keep your eyes away from him." When Hōkūlani came to where Kana was living, Kana called out to him saying, "What do you want?" Hōkūlani replied, "I have come to tell you that your mother has been taken away by Kapepe'e Kauila. She is now on Molokai." When Kana heard, he said to Hōkūlani, "Go and give a call to the people to come together from throughout Hawaii Island and tell the men to go and make canoes. That is how we will get to Molokai." With this, the canoe builders all around Hawaii came together, and a large double-hull canoe, 10 fathoms in length, was made ready. When Kana came to the double-hull canoe, he stretched out his hands and placed them on the canoe, and the canoe sank. Again, Hana asked for a canoe, but it too sank out of sight. Hōkūlani then went to Niheu and told him what happened. When Niheu heard this, he said, "You go to Uli, our grandmother, and ask for a canoe. She has the canoe that will go to Molokai, and she will direct you what to do." When Hōkūlani went to Uli, she asked him, "What is it you want?" Hōkūlani replied, "I have come for a canoe for Kana, so he may be able to go to Molokai to fight Kapepe'e Kauila." Uli replied, "Yes, there is a canoe in Paliuli." They proceeded to the uplands of Paliuli, where Uli prayed for a double canoe for Kana, and it appeared. This down here is the Wailuku River in Hilo, Hawaii. With only a single helper called Pohaku, the two brothers then set out for Molokai. Niheu lands, breaks down a barricade of ulei and tea leaves, and would have escaped with his mother from the house where she was being kept if the birds didn't get a hold of his sacred hair and prevent him from continuing. When that attempt failed, Kana tries a stretching contest with the hill Haupu, using each of his 5 bodies in succession: a human, a rope, a morning glory vine, banana fibers, and a spider web. Kana now attempts to raise himself above the hill, and the 2 contestants stretch themselves up into the blue sky. Kana's body then became like a spider web to prevent him from starving from his exertion. He lays himself down all the way to Hawaii Island and puts his head at his grandmother's door. Uli feeds him and tells him that the hill Haupu is actually a giant turtle named Kahonu Nui Maileka, whose stretching power lies in its flippers. Kana is revived and breaks the flippers off the giant turtle, crushes its back into pieces, and brings Hina back to her husband in Hilo. From the pieces of the hill Haupu come the turtles we see today in Hawaiian waters. This mele is for Kana, and perhaps you can recognize some of the words I shared in the story: Hōkūlani, the morning glory vine, the banana, the spider web, and uli. I will chant it for you. Ya moku keleka hiki ke au haka Hōkūlani leo o bili bili hilo ho kaka akalani kaka aka ilo li behi behi ka opua pala mua ka hiki wahi ka he ka mauna kai ko o ka moana I ka hana wana o kana he lino he aholoa he pauku kaula he ka e koali he ave pumai a he puna vele vele hana ia uli a ka ihuki ka ihunana ka manohai ka iliohai ke kialala ke kiomino kui Hoholua naue na hakoa ka ilava ikai ka puko a ikai ka pu ole ole ka awana lele kai ko inoa e kana. Lei? Lei.
Sorry about that. Mahalo, Hoku. So, Heikeiki aloha, na mea kanu. Beloved children are the plants. Here we have native plants that we can make cordage from. The olana is known to be the strongest fiber, natural fiber in the world. The new or coconut fibers are strong and pliable and would secure the canoes on ocean travels. The voke, its fine fibers, is used to make carrying nets for the ali'i and kapa for clothing. In this photo, we also have the uki uki, the ahu ava, the koali, and the ma'u hauhele. Next, Hoku. These are examples of prepared fibers of the native plants like the new, the hau, the olana, the voke, mamaki, koali, akia, uki uki, and ulehala. There are many more native plants that is used to make kaula for different needs, from the finest fibers to the strongest in the world. Next, Hoku, thank you. David Malo states, cordage and ropes are sorts were articles of great value, serviceable in all sorts of work. In ancient times, kaula was the most important tool that Hawaiians used to survive. Kaula was used to lash the canoes and houses. They were used for fishing lures and nets to carry the water and their belongings. Most important, they used kaula to make the tools to survive. Okay. So this is a little short video that tells us how to prepare a hau. Please.
Aloha, my name is Lei Ishikawa. Today we're going to be gathering hau to make hau cordage. So let's go to Ka'ehu. You can find hau by rivers and coastline.
Oh, sorry, my mistake. Let's start again.
Okay.
Don't touch the mouse, Hoku. Hey, oh, see, mine is just a little too sensitive.
Aloha, my name is Lei Ishikawa. Today we're going to be gathering hau to make hau cordage. So let's go to Ka'ehu. You can find hau by rivers and coastlines. The leaves are shaped like a heart. It has a beautiful yellow flower in the morning and it turns red in the evening. And you can make a beautiful blue dye from the flowers. You always ask permission to gather your resources. You call upon your kupuna, the aumakua of this place, to grant you ike so that you can do what is right. Let's ohi some hau.
We're looking for these. And what we want is the ones that's growing up straight without any branches all coming out of it. Because the longer and straighter the piece is without any branches on it, the better the quality of the strands. So instead of doing a whole bunch of short pieces like new, if you have a 6-8 foot piece, then you can make it faster, longer. So on these new branches, the ones you're looking for, you can see the difference, old, new. So mom said thumb size, so that's like that, yeah. maybe like this. But where they're rubbing other branches, gonna have damage, but you know, try not to look, I mean, try to avoid
Because it would
if
make
can, but cannot.
fight it, yeah.
Like this has been trimmed, so it's all thick, yeah. But one inside is more open, and that's where you're going to get the nice ones. So up here part is not as much fibers. Yeah, so like this. So you see how there's no branches on it, yeah? See how thick this is here? So we're gonna grab that fibers. Yeah?
Yeah.
When it's old, it'll be super thin, this area.
Mahalo me ke alohala. Mahalo me ke alohala. Mahalo.
So now that we have ohi'd or collected the hau, we want to start to process it as soon as possible. We don't want it to dry out. So there's two ways to do this. One is pa'e and the other one is modina. Pa'e is to peel or modina is to strip. So if you needed fibers right away, I would use a pa'e. You would take from the base of the stalk, you would slowly peel away the bark and the bast alongside the stalk. This will soften the fibers so you can go ahead and use it right away. In the Molina style, what we want to do is we're going to pull the whole bark and bast away from the stalk in one piece. So the way you're going to do this is you're going to take your fingers and between the stalk and the bast, and you're going to rub it down, all the way down to the very base. And you do it to two sides. Then you can just kind of pull it away from the stalk. So the next thing you want to do is you want to roll it. You want to roll it into a kuka'a, and then you're going to soak it into a bucket of water, fresh water. And what you'll see is this valley that starts to come out from the fibers. You want to remove that out so you can change the water. You're going to be leaving it in there from anywhere from 5 days to maybe 10 days to maybe a month, depending on how old the stock was and the environment. So if it's colder, it takes longer for us to process. If you're in Makai side, then it could be quickly done because of the heat. For the pa'e or the molina, the next step we would have to do is kahi. So we'd scrape or kahi or scrape any type of leftover rubbish that's on there. We want to remove the bark, any bark that's left over, or any kind of vale or the sticky stuff. After we kahi, we scrape the bark and vale off. Then we need to kaka the hau. So the kaka is to rinse. So we take the water and we'll just rinse it off really, really, really well. Okay, now we just need to go ahead and dry this. We take the fibers and we lay it on the ground, or we can hang it over a stick and we put it in the sun and let the wind and the sun dry it up. And it helps with the bleaching and making it all ready for you to make your kaula.
Okay, so this is our little bit of time for Lei can go and get ready.
Okay.
Live with Lei.
Thank you. I'm gonna turn my video off.
So Lei will be showing us how to turn the hull bast or the hull fiber into the piece that you have in front of you. So if you don't have your piece in front of you that was sent, go get it now. Okay, now's a good time. Go get it. Lei, did you on your other camera? So yeah, so if you don't have, okay, if you don't have your piece, then go ahead and get it. So pin the picture that says Kaula. Okay, so go and pin the picture, pin the video. Yeah, you go to your 3 dots and you pin the video that says Kaula. So we'll wait a moment for you to be able to do that. Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing. And then you're going to make sure you pin the Kaula video or spotlight the Kaula video. Okay, can everybody see it? Give a little bit of a thumbs up. Okay. Yeah. You hover over the picture on the right has the 3 dots. Okay, if everybody okay before we get started?
I don't know what 3 dots you're talking about.
Okay, so you want to hover over the picture that says Kaula. Do you see the picture in your speaker view or in your gallery view that says Kaula? Or you can do it over yours, over yours or over the Kaula one. But when you hover over the video, the picture, there should be 3 dots in a blue box that show up on the upper right. So put your cursor over your video, your picture, and up on the right, you should see 3 dots in a blue box. When you hold the 3 dots in the blue box, when you select it, one of those selections will be the one that it says spotlight video. But if you can see what I see, which is Lei's feet and a box, that should be good enough. If everybody can see that, we'll just move forward. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, Lei.
Thank you, Hōkū. Okay, so what you have received in your little kit is hull. And so the process that we just watched on the video is how you receive this hao. So what I want you to do is take your hao out of your bundle, and then you're gonna find the middle of your hao.
Yeah, the middle of the length of your hao.
Yes. Okay, are we good?
Looks like.
Okay. So what you're gonna do with your left hand, you're gonna hold it tight. With your right hand, you're gonna twist
Away from you.
away from you. Twist away from you. Just your right hand. And then you're gonna twist it until it's really tight, that when you bring it together, it will just be a little
Loop.
loop.
Okay, so let's stop. Let's stop right there.
Hana Noʻeau.
Hana hold it in your left, in the middle of the length of hao.
Yeah.
Hold the right side of that middle still.
And with
And-
your right hand, you're gonna twist until it's really tight, until you have a little loop. The
And then
loop come naturally.
bring your two hands together, it will make a little loop. Okay, if you're having hard time, say something. We can always reverse.
Get them? So with this, we have our little loop. We're gonna use our left hand and we're gonna pinch that. So you'll see the little V.
You'll pinch the joining of that loop. So now you have
The little V.
two ends.
Okay? So with your right thigh, that's what you're gonna be using.
Okay, so everybody scoot back. Everybody scoot back from your table or your desk or whatever. You gotta scoot back so that your thigh is revealed. Remember when we say wear something so that we didn't want to say your thigh is naked,
Yeah.
but where your thigh shows. So pull up your pants or whatever you have so that it's just your thigh skin. Okay, so you gotta make your thigh available.
So what I like to do is having the loop towards my left side. Yeah. I'm gonna be holding with my left thumb and index finger onto that joint. Okay? What I like to do, especially with the very first one that we do, I like to kind of just massage it a little bit.
Massaging is good.
Massaging is good. So once I get the massage done, what you're gonna do is using your index finger and right underneath your thumb, you're gonna push these two together but separate. Okay? Yeah. I do have this one is really thick because I wanted to be able to show you, but the ones that you have will be thin. Okay? So with my thumb and my index finger, I'm gonna roll it away from me on my right thigh. And then once I feel this tension, I'm gonna let go my left hand. And it just does a little twist. Okay? Then I'm gonna go back and grab that joint again. Separate it. Kind of like pull, not really hard, but with your left hand. And then roll again with your right hand until you feel the tension and you let it go.
Okay, let's stop right there. That's
Okay.
a couple of rolls you've already done. How we doing? How we doing out there? Okay, I see nod. I see head nod. I see big smile, but I don't know if the big smile says what or the big smile is yeah.
Okay. Then Hana, hold this again.
Yeah. I see nod on the Hana Noʻeau. Yeah.
So from the beginning again, I'll just show you your left hand holding straight or tight, your right hand turning until you feel the tension. Make the loop, grab it with your left hand.
With your left hand.
With your right hand, you're gonna see your little V. Put your left, your right thigh up. You're gonna push away until you feel the tension and you're gonna let it go. Again, you're gonna push away, then let it go.
So when Lei said that you have to create some tension, that's what makes the roll. So your left hand is pulling a little bit to the left and your right hand is pushing down on your thigh.
And you wanna make sure that these two don't bunch together while you're rolling it. You want it separate. Yeah?
Okay, everybody look up. Okay, Lei, don't do that yet. Reverse. Let go. Yeah. Okay, everybody look up at the screen and watch how Lei will roll, keeping the two
Separate.
ends separate.
Okay. So it's separate. It's always separate, yeah? But you see the tension also? Once I get that tension, then I'll let it go.
And then it'll spring into the twist.
Yeah. So the twist is the vili, yeah? We call it this the vili.
So all you do is you keep pushing, releasing, pinch. Push, release, pinch. Push, release, pinch.
Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to make a kaula that will go around your wrist.
Yeah, so you're going to want to make a length of the twisted part that will fit around your wrist. Yay, skinny wrists.
Once you get that length, you're gonna do a little knot.
Wait a minute, Lei. Wait a minute. Let's make sure everybody gets their length. Okay, nod your head if your length is ready for the next step. No. Okay, I see some no's. So nod yes if you have your hand span or your length that'll go around your wrist. Then I'll look at everybody. Thank you. Yes? Gemma, how we doing? Yes. Good. All righty.
Right on. Okay.
Barbara, how we doing? Iffy. Okay, iffy. Okay, wait 1 minute, Lei. We still iffy. All right, we can reverse. Okay, we can slow down. And this is the hardest part, getting that right tension between the pulling and the pushing. Yeah, that right, that's the experimental part, to get that correct tension between the pulling on the left and the pushing down of the right. We're still waiting, Lei.
Yeah.
People are still working. Okay, Barbara's good. How you doing, Shauna? Iffy. Yeah. It's getting there. Yeah, that's good. Pam, you look like you're frowning. You good? Okay. How about you, Melissa? How are we doing?
As long as I hold on to both ends, it doesn't come untwisted.
Yeah. Monica, we good? Iffy. Yeah. It's that tension part and keeping the two links separated until the release. So what the two ends are rolling independent of each other. And then when you release the left hand, it'll spring back on each other. Okay, let's move on.
Okay, so once you get to the length that you want for your bracelet, sorry, you gotta grab it from here.
Okay, everybody look up.
Once you get to the length that you want for your bracelet, you're gonna take that and you're gonna tie a knot. Just a regular square knot, okay?
A regular pass-through knot.
Yeah. And then what I have here is I put it through mine already, but there's a shell. What you want to do is grab your shell.
Wait, Lei. So Lei, hold up your kaula. So most of your kaula should look about that thickness. She
Yeah.
made the thick one so that you can see how it works, but most of yours should be around this kind. So when you make your knot is going to be small, which is my ka'i.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on, Lei.
So then you're gonna just thread the kaula, the how in the puka of the shell. Yeah, just like that.
The puka shell.
It's a puka shell. And then you're gonna just move it close to it. So it kind of sits like that. If the collar is too long, you can cut it, but just make sure you have enough room to make another knot at the end.
And then you can trim. You can trim off the length, any sticky outy pieces to make it neater.
And then you're just gonna do another knot at the very end. And pull it.
And pull it as close to the shell as you can.
Yeah. Okay.
And then you can, don't cut the length too close to the knot because then it's gonna get undone. Yeah, but you can trim.
But you can trim. Okay. So once you have your pupu on and the last knot on, you're gonna take the other end, you're gonna open it up, and this is how you
The loop end, yeah? You look at the loop end.
You just open it up and you're gonna push your steps, your pupu in, and that will lock your leg.
And there you go.
And there you
So
go.
when you bow, yeah, Melissa, that's good. That's what I want you to do. I want you to hold up. I want you to hold up your, yeah, good, Melissa. Who else got theirs? Hold yours up to the camera. Teeth work too, Lehua. Teeth work too. That's a mother. The hands are busy. Use the teeth.
Yeah.
Or the feet. Or, yeah, good, Monica.
Beautiful. So this again is called the willy willy style, the vili vili, to twist. I know that Joyce will be doing.
Yay, Lehua. Who else? Who else has their done? Thank you, Puna.
Yay.
Yay, Nasi. All right. Don't frown. Don't frown. It's all
Wrinkles.
good. It's not supposed to be stressful.
I just wanted to also show you, you could also braid it, 3 braids, 3 strands, braid it together to make another type of kaula. This will not run away because it's flat, yeah? So this is good. And here I have, it's kind of hard to see, but what I did was I did the vili again for these 1, 2, 3, and then I braided it. Okay. We good? Any questions? Or can I help? We good?
Okay, well, the good part, we're going to move on. We're not pow yet. The good part is that this is being recorded, so you can go back and take a look. How did she do that again? You can go back and take a look and reverse. And what I would encourage you to do is go back and try and get it to that place, because it is such a good skill to have. Yeah, it's such a good skill to have. So I would recommend to give it a whirl, Okay, I'm going to share my screen again.
Malama o ike kaula ilihau o kailua. Take care lest you feel the how bark rope of kailua. Take care lest you get hurt. When braided into a round rope, how bark is strong. When used as a switch, it could be painful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now I would like to introduce Joyce.
So today I will be introducing the hulu, which we will be working on in January 27th at our next session. But we wanted to get started so that we'll be prepared for what we will be doing. And the hulu is feather lei. And you can see this bracelet on the side here to the left, and that is what we will be creating. Would you go to the next slide, please? And we use the cordage as a backing in this lei. So this is a pheasant lei that I made, and I actually gifted this to a friend of mine whose grandmother was Leilani Fernandez, which is a really well-known feather artist or feather master teacher, but she doesn't do feather lei. Next, please. And so here's another example of using the cordage as a backing. This one is a pheasant that was made by a friend of Patty Hannah Gomez, who is my teacher, and she is here on the call today. We're so fortunate that she's here to join us. And so Patty, tell us about about how you began to become a teacher or how you learned. I think you learned from the aunties from Keokeo. Patty? Oh, Patty, you know why you're muted. There you go. Sorry, Patty. There you go. Okay, great.
Okay. So I learned pheasant because the pheasant are hunted as a protein source for food. And coming from an island society, we learn how not to be wasteful. And so the feathers were not going to be thrown away. So the skins were very carefully taken off the bird and dried and used for lei. I started sewing feather lei when I was around 8 or 9 years old from Auntie Mary Yap. That's way up in Chinatown in Keokea. And then later, many years later, I learned a little bit from Auntie Paulette, whose teacher was Sarah Fernandez. Auntie Paulette's passed away since, I'd say 5 years now. But she was instrumental in bringing the hulu back to life. I began teaching with Kaunoa because there were no teachers left on the island. And I think I was about 45 when I started with Kaunoa. So I was like the youngest person in the room as well. But I would say there are over 3,000 feather lei students right now that are under me, including Joyce. They're all over the world. They love feather lei. It's very therapeutic. It's a great bonding experience as well.
So I wanted to share how I really got into this. I've known Patty many years. I was gifted many years ago with a certificate to get a manicure and a pedicure. And I don't know if you remember, but June Vieira, who used to actually teach at our college, gifted me this gift certificate. So I met Patty. Right. Patty subsequently had a party for my daughter when she was young. My daughter's 21 now. And so we had a birthday party where all her friends got manicures and pedicures. So I've known Patty many years, and she's certainly evolved into a lot of different skills, but this is one of the things that really close to her heart. But she's just very creative and open to teaching and sharing. And I think one of the things that Patty is really, I feel really, that I really like is that she teaches people so that they can become self-sufficient and, you know, financially, and use their skills to become self-sufficient. Maybe Patty, just a short thing about that. You know, I think that's just a beautiful thing that you really convey.
Well, it doesn't matter how many feather lei artists in the world, there aren't enough. And so here's a good example. I'm doing a class with the church, and in that class there are 28 ladies learning to sew feather lei. So when I talked about financial freedom, if you are good at feather lei, if you're good at anything you do, use that to become financially secure. Feather lei is easy. They're very expensive. Like I said, it doesn't matter how many there are in the world. I have an order for 311 leis in January. I'm going to need 100 lei makers, right? But I can teach them, take this skill that you've learned it well. You're going to spend the time and the love that it's going to take to create the lei, and start paying down your bill. You don't need credit cards. You don't need a car payment. And for so many people, we're so used to living by credit cards that it's almost impossible for them to understand that you can live life in financial freedom. And feather lei is just one of the ways to do it. I'm sorry, my bird.
Slide. She has a couple of birds at her shop. And so the next slide.
Yeah, the birds.
And so you can see how we've used, this one is actually, I think, they said this is raffia. So you can use raffia, different kinds of material to make your kaula or your cordage, and then use it in feather lei. Next, please. And I just wanted to feature. This is Patty's shop. If you go to her shop, will you turn on the video? You will see, you know, a wealth of inspiration, different things that you can possibly make or purchase. She has a whole bunch of different feathers that you can use and, you know, create things. And it's on Central Avenue, right up there by the Malama Health Center. So if you decide that, you know, you really enjoy doing hulu, why Patty is, you know, so willing to help you learn more. Next slide, please. So, oh, yeah. And so you'll see that what we're doing is a Hōkūlani style. That's the style that we'll be doing. And you can do it in a variety of colors. I have a bracelet on that you can see. This is a double bracelet. This lei that I made, this is the first Hōkūlani I made several years ago. And it's just a really wonderful style. There are other styles as well. Can you turn, please? And so this one is the poi poi style. And this, I don't know if you remember, but I donated this to the end of the semester silent auction. It's supposed to be a wreath that you can use as an ornament, but it could also be used as a bracelet. And this is the kamoi style on the right-hand side. Next, please. And all of these styles, you can use the skills that you are going to learn to make the Hōkūlani. So this is what we're going to be making. And in a couple of weeks, can you turn, please? We will send you a supply kit. And in the supply kit will be the feathers, snippers or little scissors, the key, the lehulu key, which is this pink thing in this example, a fastening magnet with a yarn backing. So we're not going to be using cordage, but we're going to be using yarn as a backing. But it will be put together for you, so ready to go. And so what we would like to just show you today is how to prepare the feathers so that next time when we see you, it will be all cut and ready to learn. And I just wanted to show you this. You know, here we use Patty's basket, but you can just use a box like this, you know, any kind of box. What I do is I get one of these Tupperwares because you know how feathers fly. And so I have my box. And in my box, I have these little jars. These are talenti jars, you know, ice cream. We eat a lot of talenti ice cream. So I would put maybe the first cut in one, the second cut in another. And then I always have a plastic bag for, you know, the third cut or the part that you're probably not going to use. Or you can get a bigger jar, you know. And then, so I have my key in here. I have my scissors. And then, so when I'm maybe relaxing or watching TV, I have my whole set and I can just take it here and there. So you might prepare a little box like that for yourself so that, you know, your feathers don't fly all over the place. And
story. Oh, a feather lace story which parents will need to hear. Okay, so my mother was making a lei hulu poi poi. Yeah, she was making a lei hulu poi poi. She had like about 3/4 of it finished. She was working on it, had about 3/4 of it finished. The phone rang. She went to answer the phone, talked on the phone. When she came back, my youngest sister had cut up the whole lei into this size. Because she saw my mother cutting. She was maybe about 5 at the time. She saw my mother cutting. So when she saw the lei, she went So my mother hit the ceiling. You could hear my sister screaming all across Waimanalo. So what I'm telling the parents out here is if you leave your lei, don't leave it within arm's reach of the children.
That's such a great story. And I also wanted to share with you, you know, there are several books that you can really read about it. This is one of my favorite books. This is written by Mary Kikueva. And her teacher was Leilani Fernandez, Tiffany Kinder, my friend's grandmother. And it gives instructions, but Patty will tell you, you know, depending upon where you are, the style might be different. So sometimes when you see a hatband, a feather hatband, people immediately will look to the back at the stitches, and you can tell where this person or who the person learned from. And so it's, you know, all these little tidbits that make it so rich, right, within this whole craft. And the great part about learning from Patty is that she really allows, she teaches you the basics, but she allows you to be creative, you know, and do what you see, and you ask her, oh, can you show me how to do this? And she will do that. And anyway, I just really love that. And let's go to the next slide. And so we are going to be preparing our feathers. So I have a little video, which of course I will share with you. So when your kit comes, please prepare your feathers. Okay, let's watch.
So we're going to remove the feathers off of the strand. And we're going to start cutting. So this is no good. We can't use that for lei, but we can use it for flowers. Hold on to those. Don't throw them away. And we are going to use the key.
Can you tell us about that key? Did you invent that key?
So I didn't invent the key, but the man that invented it for my hands. So when I taught at Kaula, I would teach how to cut by your finger. And the seniors, every finger was different. The point was that it had to be consistent, but they thought it had to be the size of my finger. So we developed a tool that was originally in bamboo, and then later on we cut it with plastic, and now I own the patent on it. So it's 1 inch, 1 1/4, 1 1/2 from this way. From this way, it's 1 1/2, 1 3/4, and 2 inches. So the total length of the key is 3 inches. When we cut pheasant, this part is 3/4, so we would cut it like this. So for Hōkūlani, we're going to cut 1 1/4. So our thumb is always pointing to the logo. Excuse my nails, I was painting yesterday. So it's 1 inch, 1 1/4, 1 1/2. So I'm going to line it up on the 1 1/4, and we're going to snip right into the feather. What we don't want to do is cut like this. So number one, this is going to end up all over your yard, all over your house, and then this is no longer usable. So if we cut it 1 1/4, this can be used for something else. This one's a little short, but if we have a long feather like this one, 1 1/4, so now we can actually use this feather to make a whole nother lei, the second cut. So sometimes the feathers are very eyelashy like this. The ends are very eyelashy, and you don't go past that eyelashy, you stay right within that eyelashy.
So you're actually trimming right on that bone of the
Right,
feather.
right onto the quill itself.
Oh, the quill.
So these scissors, little pointed scissors, are really important. And I'm going to separate my first cuts, my second cuts, and my opala, or we're going to reuse this for something else for feather flowers. So here's another one. So this one's too eyelashy. So I'm just going to cut this out and then save the second cut. We could use the second cut for something. And that's basically it. You're going to keep cutting your feathers till you're all completed. It's easier to cut your feathers at one sitting rather than cut 12 feathers, tie on, cut 12 feathers, tie on. Because once you've got your consistency for your lei, you want to stay with that consistency. If you put your lei down and you keep going back to tying feathers on, this is going to suffer, or the tying, the willy ties on the lei is going to suffer.
Yeah, I think that's really true. I noticed that when you step away, you kind of have to get the same tightness of
The rhythm again,
Yes.
yeah, it really shows. So I try and do a Hōkūlani in 4 hours, one sitting. The poi pois take a little longer, but like for a 30-inch lei, I'll do it in 4 sittings of 6 hours. And then that way, that consistency is very nice.
Mhm.
I definitely don't do 2 hours for 6 months.
Right.
And then make it take 6 months to get the lay done. Just get your feathers cut and get your lay done, and you have that sense of accomplishment. So this is the free lay. So we're going to use these feathers for one lay. We're going to use this for basically free lay. What would have been Okala, we'll make another lay. And you can show them some of the differences there. So that's cutting.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So taking a look again at this key, 1.5 from the curvy top, not the little side, would be the second line. And what I do, I don't know if you can see this, you probably can't see this, but I put a little dot of nail polish right there, so I know what the second line is. And you know, it just reminds me. So you can do that to your key as well. But it's not the first line here, but it's the second line. So you place your feather, and then you snip it right at the end here. And if anybody needs, you know, further instruction, or you know, just call me and we can go through it. But you can look at this video again. So after you've cut all of your feathers, you're going to get some colored feathers, a lot of colored feathers, and then you're going to have some green feathers. The green feathers are these little, I don't know what these are called, you know, part of the bottom of the rose. So you're going to have a few of those as well. And for that one, we use the second cut, not the first cut. So be sure to save all of your feathers, you know, in different jars or plastic bag or something like that. So after you've cut everything, then you're going to prepare your key with the thread. And so Patty is going to show us that, how to do that. And I know that the screen is not on you. I wonder if I were to unpin from here, if I could, oh. Hey.
Joyce,
Yes.
Joyce, I can explain it.
Okay.
So when you look at the key, there's a logo, and your thumb will always point to the logo, whether you're cutting feathers or putting your thread onto the key. So everything is clockwise. When I'm doing classes, I try to be very consistent. So if you put the thread under your thumb and wrap it in the slots clockwise, you're okay. You do not want to thread your key and then try to cut feathers, because your feathers, that thread will make those feathers probably 1/8 of an inch too long. So that'll definitely be step 2. Let me see if you can see the contrast. Right, so here's the logo. So I'm holding it like this, and then I'm going to go clockwise. Sorry. That's all. It's really simple. You're welcome to call me. I can FaceTime or, you know, send something by email as well. I'm very available.
Next slide, please. So our future sessions will be January 27th at 3 o'clock. And so come prepared with your cut feathers, as well as your key that has all of the thread wound on it. And then the following session, February 17th, we will be teaching the cultural practice of making Hawaiian food. And Chancellor Hōkūlani is going to be featured, which is, that is his cultural practice, is making food. And March 10th, a feather lay, which Barbara, thank you Barbara, she will teach us either haku or vilile. Any questions or comments, anything at all?
Joyce, I did want to say one thing. So, you know, the Hawaiians didn't have precious metals, and so feathers and things from nature were most important, but it comes from a practical side. And when Mo'okiha went into the water, before Mo'okiha could go in the water, she needed a lei. And the weight of the feathers and the kaula is what tells them how hard the wind is blowing. And the kaula on a canoe is 3 miles. There are 3 miles of rope per canoe. But first you need to grow the kaula, harvest the kaula, and make the kaula, right? It's a huge process. But just that, the prospect of starting a job and completing the job and doing it the best you can because your life depended on it. Your life depended on that canoe being strong and safe, right, for voyaging. And once again, if every canoe that you look at, that whether it's in the water now, you look at Hōkūlani, you look at Hōkūlani's drawings, you'll see the feather lay up on the top of the mast there. And that is the navigational tool.
Thank you. That's so interesting.
You're welcome. It is.
Awesome. So everyone take care. Have a really great holiday season.
Does anyone have, before we leave, does anyone have any particular questions that because your hands were busy and you didn't type into the chat box that you would like to ask at this time? Just unmute your microphone and then we'll be good to go. Again, I would recommend that you go back to the video once it's finished and Joyce sends it to you, sends the link to you. Go back to the video and go slower because it's gonna take what? Stop. Okay, start. What? Stop. Okay, yeah. So it's gonna take a little bit of doing that. So not a problem. Not a problem. So Joyce?
Yes, thank you very much, Hōkūlani. Thank you everyone for being here and enjoying, the process and learning about cultural practice and the story. Wasn't that amazing? We learned so much today. So have a wonderful holiday. We'll see you at the end of semester gala that we'll be having, the drive-by on the 18th. We're actually going to have a making tea leaf rose wreaths on the 11th. So if you are interested, please join us and take care.
Aloha.
Thank you.
Mahalo, everyone.
Mahalo.